Do you ever wake up feeling older than you did the night before? As if the night didn't refresh you, but instead wore you down with aches, stiffness, and a foggy mind? Many of my patients describe this exact feeling. They say, "Dr. Clark, I go to bed hoping for a reset, but I wake up feeling like my body has run a marathon." What if I told you the key to a vibrant, energetic, and pain-free morning isn't found in your morning coffee cup or a new mattress, but in the crucial 5-hour window before you even turn out the lights? For decades in my practice, I've seen how simple, science-backed adjustments in the evening can completely transform how we feel at dawn. Today, we're going to walk through 5 evening secrets that your body is begging you to implement. These aren't just tips, this is your new blueprint for waking up healthier. Let's begin with one of the hardest working, yet often overlooked, organ systems in your body, your kidneys. And we'll focus on a very specific time window, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. This is what I call the circadian kidney connection. You see, your body runs on an internal 24-hour clock, a master schedule known as the circadian rhythm. Every organ has a time when it's most active and a time when it needs to rest and repair. For your kidneys, their peak performance, their prime time for filtering waste and balancing fluids, is in the late afternoon and early evening. When we ignore this rhythm, especially as we get older, we set ourselves up for disruptive nights and sluggish mornings. I remember a patient, let's call him George, a 72-year-old retired firefighter who was absolutely exhausted. He was a robust man, but he was being defeated by his own bladder. He would wake up 3, sometimes 4 times a night to urinate, a condition we call nocturia. His sleep was shattered, his mornings were a wreck, and his energy was at an all-time low. When we looked at his daily habits, we found the culprit. He was drinking a very large glass of water right at his bedside, thinking he was doing the right thing for hydration, but he was doing the right thing at the wrong time. We shifted his hydration strategy. I advised him to front-load his water intake, aiming to drink the majority of his daily fluids before 7 p.m. This allows those hard-working kidneys to process that fluid during their peak efficiency window, long before he lies down to sleep. After 7 p.m., he switched to small sips only if he was truly thirsty. The result? Within 1 week, George was sleeping for 6 straight hours before waking. For him, it was nothing short of miraculous. This isn't just about water, it's also about what you eat. A heavy, protein-rich meal, like a large steak or a double pork chop eaten late at night, puts a significant workload on your kidneys. Protein breakdown creates byproducts, like urea, that must be filtered out of the blood. When you eat that meal at 9 p.m., you're essentially telling your kidneys to run a midnight shift right when they're supposed to be winding down. This can lead to elevated kidney markers in morning blood tests and puts unnecessary, long-term strain on these vital organs. So, the practical step here is to align your habits with your body's natural rhythm. Enjoy your main protein source with your evening meal, ideally finishing before that 7 p.m. cutoff. Think of it as respecting your kidneys' work schedule. This simple shift supports their overnight recovery, reduces your chances of being woken up by your bladder, and helps you start the day feeling rested, not drained. I want you to ask yourself 2 questions tonight. Have you ever considered that the timing of your glass of water could be just as important as the water itself? And could the timing of your dinner be contributing to how many times you get up during the night? Now let's move to the next critical window, from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. This is what I call the medication timing window, and understanding this can be one of the most powerful health interventions you ever make. Many of us take our medications in the morning out of sheer habit. The alarm goes off, we have breakfast, we take our pills. But a growing field of science called chronotherapy is showing us that for certain critical medications, morning may not be the optimal time at all. This is especially true for the millions of us who manage high blood pressure. Your blood pressure isn't static, it follows a very distinct 24-hour rhythm. It naturally dips to its lowest point during deep sleep and then begins a sharp rise in the very early morning hours, a few hours before you wake up. This is known as the morning surge, and it's a period of significant cardiovascular risk. This is when the blood is stickier, the arteries are less flexible, and the risk of a heart attack or stroke is at its highest. So, if you take your blood pressure medication in the morning, it may not reach its peak effectiveness until after this danger zone has already passed. Let me tell you about Margaret, a patient of mine in her late 60s. She was the model patient, never missed a dose of her blood pressure medication, which she took at 8 a.m. sharp every day. Yet, her morning blood pressure readings, taken right after waking, were consistently in the high-risk zone. She was frustrated and scared. She felt she was doing everything right, but the numbers weren't cooperating. I encouraged her to have a specific conversation with her cardiologist, not about changing the medication, but about changing the time. After a thorough review, her cardiologist agreed to a trial of evening dosing. Margaret began taking that same pill around 8 p.m. The change was nothing short of profound. Her morning blood pressure readings came down into a much safer, healthier range. We had essentially set up an ambush for the morning surge, blunting its effect before it could even begin. Now, I must be absolutely clear on this point, and please hear me. You should never, ever change your medication schedule without first consulting with the doctor who prescribed it. This is not medical advice for you to act on alone. This is knowledge to empower you to have a more informed conversation. Ask your doctor. I've been reading about chronotherapy. Based on my specific condition and the medication I'm on, could evening dosing be a safer or more effective strategy for me? This principle can also apply to other medications. For example, the majority of cholesterol production in your liver happens overnight while you sleep, which is why many doctors already prescribe statin medications to be taken in the evening. The key is to work with your body's rhythms, not against them. This window is also a time to be mindful of risky combinations. Some sleep aids, even over-the-counter ones, can interact with blood pressure or heart medications, potentially causing your blood pressure to drop to low overnight. Always have an updated list of all your medications, including supplements, and review it with your doctor and pharmacist to screen for any potential evening conflicts. So, I'll leave you with this thought. Are you taking your medications at a certain time of day simply because that's what you've always done? It might be time to ask your doctor if there's a better way. As we move later into the evening, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., we enter a period that has a powerful effect on morning pain, stiffness, and mental clarity. I call this the stress and inflammation cycle. So many of my patients with arthritis or chronic pain tell me the same thing. Dr. Clark, it feels like my joints turn to rust overnight. They go to bed with mild discomfort and wake up with debilitating stiffness and pain. The culprit is very often a silent, invisible process that begins with what you do and think in these crucial hours before sleep. Let's talk about a hormone called cortisol. It's famously known as the stress hormone, but it's more nuanced than that. Cortisol naturally follows a rhythm. It should be highest in the morning to help you wake up and get going, and it should be at its lowest point in the evening, allowing your body to shift into its rest and repair mode. However, when you expose yourself to stress during this 8 to 10 p.m. window, you are short-circuiting this natural process. Watching the nightly news filled with distressing stories, engaging in a heated argument, or even scrolling through stressful social media posts on your phone can cause your cortisol levels to spike at the exact time they should be falling. When cortisol is high at night, your body never gets the signal to stand down. It stays on high alert, and one of the consequences is the overproduction of inflammatory molecules called cytokines. These are the very same molecules that cause the pain, swelling, and stiffness in arthritic joints. You are literally marinating your joints in inflammation all night long. This also contributes directly to that feeling of morning brain fog, where you feel groggy and unable to think clearly. I had a patient, David, a 68-year-old retired history teacher who suffered from terrible rheumatoid arthritis, especially in his hands. His evening ritual was to watch 2 straight hours of confrontational political news, which he admitted left him feeling agitated and anxious before bed. We made a deal. For just 2 weeks, he would turn off the television at 9 p.m. Instead, he would listen to calm classical music, read a novel, or do a crossword puzzle. We also introduced a very simple 5-minute breathing exercise, just inhaling slowly for a count of 4, holding for 4, and exhaling slowly for a count of 6. This simple act helps to activate the parasympathetic nervous system, your body's built-in relaxation response. The result was astonishing, even to him. He reported that his morning stiffness, which used to last for over an hour, was now reduced to about 15 minutes. The intensity of his pain had decreased significantly. He didn't change his medication, he changed his inflammatory environment by managing his evening stress. So, I urge you to protect this 8 to 10 p.m. window fiercely. Create a stress-down ritual. It doesn't need to be elaborate. It could be journaling, gentle stretching, talking with a loved one about pleasant topics, or enjoying a warm, caffeine-free herbal tea like chamomile or lavender. The goal is to send a clear message to your body. The day is done. The battle is over. It is now time to heal. Ask yourself tonight, what is your current wind-down routine? Does it leave you feeling calm and peaceful, or wired and anxious? The answer to that question could be the answer to why your mornings feel the way they do. We now arrive at the moment you get into bed. This isn't a passive active collapse, it's an active strategy. I call it the sleep position strategy, and making small, intentional adjustments here can have a profound impact on your morning pain, circulation, and even your organ health. For 8 hours, your body is largely held in one position. That position can either facilitate the body's nightly repair work or it can create roadblocks and strain that you'll feel acutely upon waking. Let's talk about some of the science here. Your body is not idle during sleep. Your brain is flushing out metabolic waste through the lymphatic system, a process that works best during deep sleep. Your lymphatic system, a crucial part of your immune system and your body's waste disposal network, is also hard at work. Your posture can directly influence the efficiency of these systems. For example, sleeping on your left side is often recommended by gastroenterologists and cardiologists. This position uses gravity to its advantage, potentially reducing acid reflux by keeping stomach acid down and away from the esophagus. It also may help facilitate lymphatic drainage from the brain and body. On the other hand, sleeping on your stomach is often the worst position. It can flatten the natural curve of your lower spine, leading to back pain, and it forces your head to be turned sharply to one side for hours, putting immense strain on your neck. I remember a wonderful lady named Carol who came to me with two chief complaints: persistent, nagging lower back pain and swollen ankles every single morning. Through our conversation, I learned she had been a stomach sleeper her entire life. We set a goal for her to transition to sleeping on her back. To make this work, we used what I call pillow therapy. We placed a medium-sized pillow under her knees. The small addition was revolutionary for her. It provided support that maintained the natural, gentle curve of her lower spine, immediately taking the pressure off her back. To address the swollen ankles, we added a second, smaller pillow under her ankles to keep them slightly elevated, promoting the return of fluid back toward her body's core. It took her about 3 weeks to get comfortable with the new position, but she stuck with it. Soon, her morning back pain had vanished, and the swelling in her ankles was visibly reduced. Here's how you can implement this tonight. If you are a side sleeper, which is a very good position, place a firm pillow between your knees. This simple act prevents your top leg from sliding forward and twisting your pelvis, which keeps your hips, pelvis, and spine in beautiful alignment. This can be a game changer for anyone with sciatica or hip pain. If you sleep on your back, try the pillow under the knees trick, and for all positions, take a hard look at the pillow under your head. The goal is a neutral spine. Your head shouldn't be tilted up at a sharp angle or sinking down too far. Think of keeping a straight line from your head all the way down your spine. Have you ever woken up with a numb arm or a cripplingly stiff neck and just written it off as sleeping funny? What if you could make a conscious choice to sleep right instead? A pillow might seem like a simple thing, but used strategically, it is a powerful therapeutic tool. Finally, we arrive at the master plan that ties everything together, the overnight recovery protocol. This is about consciously engineering your environment and your pre-sleep rituals to unlock the deepest, most restorative phases of sleep. It's during this deep, non-REM sleep that the most critical repair work gets done. Your pituitary gland releases human growth hormone to repair tissues, your immune system recharges, and your brain consolidates memories and, crucially, clears out the metabolic debris. Like amyloid plaques, that are associated with cognitive decline. To get into this vital state, you need to send clear, unambiguous signals to your brain that it's time for this deep work to begin. The two most powerful signals you can control are temperature and light. Your body's core temperature naturally needs to drop by a couple of degrees to initiate and maintain deep sleep. You can help this process along by making your bedroom cool. The ideal range for most people is between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 18 to 20 degrees Celsius. A room that is too warm can lead to restless, fragmented sleep, preventing you from reaching those deeper, more restorative stages. Think of your bedroom as a cave, cool, dark, and quiet. This means making your room as dark as humanly possible. Use blackout curtains or an eye mask. Even tiny amounts of ambient light from streetlights, alarm clocks, or a television can filter through your eyelids and signal to your brain that it's not fully time to rest, disrupting melatonin production. Let me tell you about Frank, a driven executive who believed sleep was a luxury he couldn't afford. He'd work on his bright laptop in bed until he passed out, often in a warm, stuffy room. He came to me with classic signs of sleep deprivation, high blood pressure, brain fog, and uncontrolled weight gain. His body was in a constant state of low-grade emergency. We implemented a strict protocol, which he initially resisted, but eventually embraced. First, we set his thermostat. Then, we introduced the 3-to-1 rule, which is incredibly simple and effective. 3 hours before your desired bedtime, no more large meals or alcohol. Digestion is an active process that can raise body temperature and interfere with sleep. 2 hours before bed, no more work and no more stressful conversations. Let your mind wind down. And most importantly, 1 hour before bed, no more screens. No phone, no tablet, no computer, no TV. The blue light emitted by these screens is particularly powerful at tricking your brain into thinking it's still daytime, effectively slamming the brakes on your body's production of melatonin, the essential hormone of sleep. Instead of screen time, Frank used that last hour to read a physical book under a dim, warm light. He listened to calming music. He reconnected with his wife. He created a sanctuary. This protocol: cool, dark, quiet, and the 3-to-1 rule is your blueprint for maximizing your body's innate ability to heal itself every night. It turns sleep from a passive activity into an active and powerful therapeutic session. I want to leave you with one final question. Is your bedroom a true sanctuary for recovery? Or has it become a multi-purpose extension of your daytime life? Reclaiming that space and that final hour of your day is the most profound gift you can give to the person you want to be tomorrow morning.